Let's lay out the equalizer for the rest of our poles. I can't hear myself think with those in my ears. I'm like screaming. All right, guys, on the equalizer with the offset cables that we have now, the new adjusters, we don't need to be perfect the location of this stake. Be back behind this post and then past the plane this way just slightly so the equalizer goes around the outside. These adjuster cables have changed our world with laying this stuff out. So the large loop goes on the stake and the smaller one is for adjusting. So we just put that out, hook this to here. The end of this loop is the center of our first post, which is already established. So we're gonna hook that, run it to the other end with another adjuster cable and a stake, and then we'll come back and pull this under tension back to where it needs to be exactly. If I did not have this post here, and it wasn't here, and I had a flag, let's say, I want to use this as my straight edge to pull through the flag to tell me where to put this stake, like this. Let's say we're doing a job on the flags, and this was the corner of the fence, and I didn't already have this drove. I'm going to use this, pull through the flag. Notice I'm touching the stake, which is vertical, and making sure that's over that flag or 2 inches away, whatever you're doing. What I don't want to do is, what I see guys do is they try to line up the stake and poke it in the ground. I don't know if that's going to be where it needs to be like this. The advantage of having the post already in means all I got to do is be somewhere behind that post. So there's an advantage to having your key post in first, less thinking. That's already established. I just need to be this way of it. So 2 ways of doing it, with the key post or without. Who has not used the equalizer before? Okay, I'm gonna have you do this. So the way this works, pull, these tags are where the post goes. We need the tag to be at this post at max stretch. All right, feel pretty tight, right? If it gets that tight, we need to check it, because you could pull to 8-1. Yeah, that's too much. So he backs off the next tag, the math is done. The old way of doing this without these. So if you don't have these, let me show you how to do this. You come around the stake, make sure this is where it needs to be without your hand anywhere in here. What I see guys do is they hold it here and they wrap here. And then when I let go here, okay, so if you're going to wrap it without these, remember, one hand is past the stake and I'm not touching that cord on this side of it. Put the tag where it goes, wrap the stake. What's important is I keep the tension on this equalizer tight. If I don't keep it tight, it will come undone and slap your buddy in the ass at the wrong time down there. Well, as I wrap 3 times, I'm keeping that tight 3 times, pull this up and over itself and it's done. This is a better and safer option because I don't have to worry about this coming loose and hitting my buddy down the way. I'm just gonna hook this on the tag right here. Now we adjust. I used to teach guys how to tie this off over and over and over and over. That's a no-brainer, right? Some of you guys are concerned about this. I get it all the time. That's too much slack. I like to make my string lines tighter than that when I set my post, right? That's fine, just mid-stake that. What I'm talking about, guys, is this slop right here. I get that, a lot of slop, right? I'm not much worried about it because what I've learned is we spend too much freaking time stressing about the 1/8 of an inch of where that post is down there when we're gonna tip the tops anyways. We're gonna make the fence straight as an arrow when we're done at the end. Guys, we're gonna make it look straight. The eye doesn't lie. It needs to look straight. If your fence post is a 1/4 inch out, but perfectly plumb, and Mrs. Jones comes out and says, that doesn't look right, she's right. If they're coming out with a 4-foot level, we got bigger problems. This is a fence, not a piano. 2 things I wanna show, how we mid-stake. Evan, you got a mid-stake. So to mid-stake this, guys, is pretty simple. Drive the stake right by the cord without pushing it left or right. If you're digging holes, don't put it right here. You laugh, but it's happened, okay? And now what? It's in the way of the digging. So where do I know there's not gonna be a post? Well, right there, because it's convenient, it shows me pretty good. That's where the post goes, guys, of the tag. so I know. I'm driving this, and as I'm driving it, I'm pushing it back and forth to get my reveal to nothing without pushing the line. Can I do this? Yes? No. All right. When I do that, I decrease this by 3 inches. So that's a no-go. All right? Steven has in his hand the answer to that problem. Every job site's got these, or use a fence wire tie off your truck, like a chain link tie. Put a loop at the end of it. This is what's important. Use your finger to push on that hook to keep it from going around the post. Overbend it. Now I can be over here and I'm not impacting those guys. So right now it'll slide. Now look, what if there's a power line right there? We don't want to dig right there, right guys? Or we don't want to pound a pole right there, right? So now what do we do? Because it's all equally spaced. And that is a bad spot to put a post. So typically you'll do some math and I would hope, you would move that post off that bang power line and you would divide that, and you would divide that, I would hope. We can do that with this tool. We can slide it till we're off that power line, tighten it down, get it to stay. Now those got bigger and those got smaller, but it is what it is. That's your best case scenario. It just makes life so much easier. What if there was a gate here? What we do is we hook this to the tags. This is 3 foot, 4 foot, and a 5 foot gate. So we hook it to a tag. I pull the next tag towards me. Now I have a 4 foot gate, and the math is, oh, okay, so here's a rule. Guys, the center of your tag where it's sewn will always be the center of your post, even on your gates, it doesn't change. What ends up happening on a vinyl post is that's about 2.5 inches. So the edge of your vinyl post is right here, the center's right there, and the other edge is right here. So if you were to measure from inside carabiner here to inside carabiner, you're gonna be right about 4 foot, and we are at 47 3/4. The goal is, this is not to be your gate spacer to set your post to. This is to dig your holes or get the first one set, then use a gate spacing jig to set the second one. This just gets all those tags close, but this is not gonna get you down to the 1/4 inch, your gate opening. Do not drive the post here and drive the post there and say, well, Shawn says that's gonna work. No, I'm telling you, that's not gonna work. Drive this one, spacing jig, drive that one. Or tape measure if you don't have a spacing jig. I strongly urge you guys to use a spacing jig, even if you just go cut a 2x4 in a truck. Have a positive stop to set your gate openings. You will alleviate a ton of trouble and problems as opposed to using a tape measure to measure your gate opening with 2 guys. 1 guy against a positive stop, the SpaceX has got it built in, but you use a 2x4 if you have to. I'm fine with that. The only problem with 2x4 is on grades, it changes the opening. But typically, you're not doing crazy gate, you're not doing gates on steep grades anyways.